Hello everyone, welcome back to my another video. Right now, first before we start, I want to show you what is the goal of this tutorial, what I did, what I achieved, and let's look at this. So basically, you can see the render of neural networks making trades on sinusoidal data. Well, basically, if you compare this tutorial with my previous one, you might see that here right now appeared on indicators, some kind of better render graphics and etc. And right now, if I would resize this window, everything resizes just properly with a scale, and before we simply were resizing without a scale. So basically, you might see how my trained neural networks makes a trade with indicators. And what is the goal is to make some changes into my FinRock project so we could include indicators into our environment so our neural networks would train. And I'm really surprised and excited to show you what changed when I added these indicators and how my right now training looks like, how my risks look like when I'm operating these traits, and etc. So that's the goal of this tutorial, and let's look at the code. I probably think so. So you might see that from 1,000, it here was able to make already $120,000, and that's not that bad. So let's resize this window to smaller. It should work a little faster because, yeah, this rendering stuff takes a lot of resources, and it finished with $230,000 in a test environment with Sinusoid data. So I'm really excited and surprised how it did so. So let's kill this, I don't need it. And what I want to show you what changed in this video. So if you watched before, you saw the similar chart, but before there was no indicators implemented. So if you look at this closer, you're right now going to understand that it grew a very nice project. It's still necessary to have live data feeder, but there is some things that I still want to do to make better risk trading, better optimizing the environment, use continuous learning, reinforcement learning, and etc. So there is many stuff that I still need to do, but that's exactly what's included right now into this my FinRock environment. So it has metrics, it has indicators, it has rendering, it has logs, it has, well, it has a lot of stuff already that we need while we are trying to do this finance and trading. So basically, it doesn't tell you a lot if you want to try to use it because, well, you need to have some instructions how to use it. So basically, I'll go to the code. So I will explain you what changed and why. So as I said, the indicators appeared inside my environment. So to understand where they went and how I implemented, we need to walk through the code. So basically, you might see that I modified the state. I added these indicators, that variable, and that's it. And I simply gonna handle the non-states also accept it. But I'll tell you this why later. So let's go to my scalars, what changed here. So scalars, I modified this a little bit. Instead of separately scaling open, high, low, and close values, I added this list that we iterate, and also I added another list where we iterate indicators, because we don't have a fixed indicators count. We are interested to add as many as you want, or custom count of them. So we need to handle this differently, but we also need to scale these indicators. And you might see that this indicator has minimum and maximum instead of data min-max. So that's because different indicators might have different minimums and maximums. For example, relative strength index has values between 0 and 100. And we need to change this a little bit to scale our data differently. So next I go to my metrics, what changed here. So yeah, this is also very interesting stuff and very important. So I added these few new metrics. So before we had these what we had is our account value and different actions. So right now I added this maximum drawdown metric. So we'll see what is the maximum drawdown of our state when we are training. So for example, here in a test, maximum drawdown is around 12%. This means that we finished with the value that is lower 12% that we were at the best point. So that's kind of great. And I also added Sharpe ratio. That's also one of the most popular ratios that we are able to use for risk measuring, risk adjustment measuring. And usually when we are trying to train our model, we are very interested into this ratio because we want to get as high this Sharpe ratio as possible on our test data, also while we are training. So this is very important metric. And of course, if you have any suggestions what metric I should add, don't hesitate to leave a comment or add some kind of open topic on my GitHub page, and etc. So basically I'm creating this kind of project not only for myself but for everyone, so everyone could try to make these kind of traits. Yeah, and if you don't hesitate, smash the like button of this video. This really would help me to expand my viewers count. So let's move to another one. What is the data feeder? What changed here? So basically, you can see that I'm importing the indicators into this data feeder. And the problem was with indicators, especially when we are rendering them. Basically, this was eating a lot of resources before, because we always trying to recalculate these indicators on every step. So I solved this issue while introducing the cache into my data feeder, and this really helps a lot when we are talking about training. And this is the crucial for training. We don't need to use rendering, etc. Render is only for I don't know, for fun. So, or when we are not sure if we correctly implemented some kind of functionality, for example, indicators or etc. So this render really helps. And what I'm doing here, when we are receiving a new state, we are grabbing this state and we are creating these indicators. We are iterating through our indicators what we have, and we receive some indicators objects that we will come in a moment. And we are sending these back to states. So yeah, this a little changed, but not much. For example, testing, I added these indicators, so I would be able to test, for example, Bolinger Bands, RSI, PSAR, SMA, with different periods and etc. And these are really helping us. So how, for example, I use this testing PPO Sinusoid without training, simply while integrating these indicators, testing how they work and etc. So how we use this? We use this data feeder, and here we define our indicators we are interested to use in our list. And here, of course, trading environment, and here we simply add metrics the same as before: maximum drawdown, Sharpe rate, and etc. And this is an agent. Simply, it's not necessary, but oh yeah, I use here training model, so that's totally fine. And prints the values. I'm interested to see. So great. I'm playing randoms inside without training, without extra anything else, simply action random. I used to play around with these indicators to check how they work, how they perform, if I implement them correctly. So let's go to these indicators, I believe. And to handle indicators, I needed to have this kind of custom indicator object that our other indicators should meet with and inherit from. So basically, it comes with data pandas data frame, and what we do, we receive the minimum maximum. Usually we pick this from our data, but we need to rewrite this when we are having different values. For example, you'll see. So I define target column. So usually, most often we are calculating this indicator from the close price, but always you can customize this stuff. render options, and these render options are only for rendering. Usually you must write these options if you want to render your custom indicators. That might be a little complicated because while this project expands, it's getting really messy around, and soon for me it also going to be pretty hard to track where is what, because well I add a lot of new stuff every time I'm recording this video. So render options, that's a dictionary usually, and when we are cat polling this, we are creating we are picking this indicator and we return this simply serialized indicator because, as I said, well, there's a lot of type steps, and on each time step we need to create this indicator object. And when we are saving this object in memory, it's really hard to track whether our values change or not. So I found out that it's pretty much easier to track this if we serialize these objects. So this means we convert them to dictionary. So moving on, let's look at that, for example, simple moving average indicator. So how we do this? So for example, we define this period, and always when we are creating these kind of indicators, I'm putting my indicator names that are here, for example, names, and this is CMA with a period, and I'm putting into this pandas data frame this new column where I create this data and return this. And if you would like to see, you might see that there's a render options that should meet some requirements, but usually these render options define what are my minimum, maximum in indicators, where I would like to render it, what render type, it's line or dot, and what color I want to use for my indicator. That's an example how to use it. For example, if I move to Bolinger Bands in computer, I calculate this stuff. I calculate these indicators of Bolinger Band. Here I return maximum and minimum of my Bolinger Band data as default, and default render options, I iterate my names that are CMA, baby up, and baby down, and simply we are using the same color, same minimum, maximum, etc. for these different lines. But if we cover this up, it's one single indicator. So very similarly we do with RSI, for example. I used period of 14, RSI, name, and etc. It's a different math that I need to use to calculate this RSI. And default render options, right now it's different. If you might saw me render, I have an image probably here. Yeah, there were 4 different lines. And if I would like to change color of these lines, I need to define this separately. So for example, there is my why I have 2 default render options? I don't need 2 of them. So remove one. Remove one. I said indicators. Let's move on. Sorry for this, but I need to remove before I forget this. Remove. Great. And you might see that I have these custom options, RSI levels. And if I would like to render this in different colors, I need to change it. So this is my main RSI color, and this is my levels colors. And I iterate this simply in my custom options, items, and etc. I simply iterate this, render, and that's it. And there's my PSAR, parabolic stop reverse kind of indicator, and I also created this one. And well, I'm not sure if I created this correctly, but looking at the chart, looks pretty confident that it's correct. But simply I found a source where I picked this and pasted it. I didn't have time to optimize this, so I believe there's ways how I could optimize this, but that's not the goal for me, or at least I want to move on with this reinforcement learning stuff. And actually I don't have a lot of time to integrate and create new indicators, because you might see it's pretty complicated, but if we won't use any rendering, it's not that complicated. But That's how it works. And that's it about these indicators. And I said that sometimes if instead of state we return none, and you might know that if you ever try to create these indicators, that for example, if we are using moving average of period of 100, this means that we are shifting our data 100 steps to the left, and this means that we need to subtract data of this mean from original data. And when we have this nonce in our data, as a result we receive nonce, and that's like a knife for our neural networks, and we might not track what is wrong with it. So the problem is that it might return a none data, and we are not interested in none data. And for this reason, I implemented some fixes. So there, for example, if there is none in our data, we'll raise a value error, because I'm talking from my own experience that I forgot to do this. It didn't came to my mind simply, and I trained my neural networks, and I there started to receive a nonce, and I knew why, because my network was training, giving me predictions and etc., but started to give me non-predictions, and I wasn't sure why. Where's the problem? Maybe my neural network was wrong something or etc., but the problem was that I was training with non-data. So we wanna save us from this problem. So how I solve this? So usually we receive these nonce at the beginning of our data, because we use first 100, for example, time steps to calculate these indicators and etc. So to solve this, I'm iterating this data feeder. And if this data feeder returns me none, that it should return when there is some non-data in a state and etc. It returns me none. So I continue iterating before I collect full these observations. For example, in my example, 50 Windows step. And this solved a lot of problems for me. But for security and safety reasons, I left this is none value error to raise to know whether if in the future I change something crucial and I still continue to receive this nonce, I would know that something is wrong there, and I wouldn't spend time within the modeling and etc. by trying to find what is wrong. So basically, that's all what I implemented. I started to walk through this very quickly, and here I have a changelog that I updated what changed in this new version. That you might see I added indicators, I added 2 metrics, Sharpe and Maxdown, but I included indicators handling into data feeder and state. And what changed in my FinRock package, that's my another package for reinforcement learning, I removed the dependency of TensorFlow package that we needed for TensorFlow random stuff and etc. So I updated this dependency to new version, and I refactored a Pygame render to handle these indicators. So I haven't walked through this, but there's a huge mess already, a huge mess. So these indicators, it start to become very messy and complicated. So I don't want to spend a lot of time explaining this, but what is here? I define a window type, render options, and I use them, as you might saw already, in indicators to return this stuff for you. So basically, I don't want to walk through this. If you're interested to check what changed, you can go to my GitHub page and check this. And probably you want to see what is the trainings of my results. So if I go to my training, the training code looks very similar as before. I added these indicators, added 2 additional metrics and etc. But you would be interested to see what are the results of this training compared with the indicators and without indicators. So if I go to my TensorBoard, I already have it. This is the graph of before. What I had without indicators. So this is the rewards and etc. And I didn't use a Sharpe rater before, so that's cool. And you might see that rewards were pretty amazing. I disagree. Let's move it a little bit. So it was 20 around 20 score, and our value of DC watts were pretty insane. We were receiving very huge values. So here, let me refresh this. I added this one and this one. How it performed? You can ask, what is this one? I don't know what is this, but it's something insane. So to see how it performed, I need to have this logarithmic scale, because it increased my account value by, 100 times better rewards and etc. What the different actions? It does a little more actions while training. That's great. What we want entropy? Entropy very similar as before. KL divergence little lower, but that's great. What my loss was a little higher. Learning rate a little lower than without indicators. Max Drawdown. That's great. That's great. I love it, because you might see that maximum drawdown didn't drop below 20 or 32. That's very good value, especially for this kind of profits and reward. So let's look at the Sharpe ratio. This also looks very nice. It's 26 and amazing. So rewards, let's compare this. And you must see this orange is without indicators and blue one is with indicators. So what I can say, so training with indicators made my network way more stable. As you may see, this orange wiggle a lot. And if I turn this off, you might see that my blue one never drops very much. And what the lowest it had, it was 20. Compared to this one, it maximum was somewhere around 20s. And right now, this one with indicators has 26, 28, and etc. The reward score. That's amazing. This gives me additional confidence that yes, indicators help me to train better neural networks. It has more data that it can use for predicting stuff and learning stuff and etc. So I'm really excited about this, and you must see how it works. And right now, that's what's the goal of this tutorial, to show you that indicators do help to train our models and get better results. So what's next is that I would like to introduce the trading fees. Of course, I would like to use different models, for example, for continuous trading to control how much we want to use of our balance for an order. That's I don't know how we're gonna do this, but I want to try it, because this will give us more confidence in controlling, well, the risk reward in our neural networks. And yeah, we are getting closer to trying some kind of other data, for example, real data, and to try to predict on this real data. Well, I'm talking not about sinusoid data, but some kind of maybe Bitcoin data, because sometime in the past I was trying to do very similar stuff with Bitcoin, and what it was giving me some chances that everything will be great. So that's it about this tutorial. I'm not sure what else I can tell you. If you would like to download the code, check the description, and I'll upload the description, how to download this code, how to download my previous codes, how it grew on, and etc. And watch my previous videos. And if you like it, don't hesitate to smash the like button, comment if you have any questions, subscribe, share, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching, and see you later.